Hey guys, I've been seeing a lot of nonsense on social media lately about weight loss, and everywhere I turn I see books that say stuff, and I hear these weight loss experts on social media. Social media has given a public voice to people who wouldn't otherwise have one. And so I want to set the record straight, and I want to simplify things for everybody out there. Weight loss is actually a pretty simple issue. It's just that people don't abide by the rules. If you don't abide by the rules, then you're not going to lose weight. A long time ago, there was a famous scientist, maybe you've heard of him, his name was Albert Einstein. And Albert Einstein came up with an equation. That equation everybody has heard of, we all learned about in high school. E equals mc squared. The energy of an object equals the mass of that object times the square of the speed of light. The speed of light is a constant unless you go to outer space or you're underwater, so we can neglect that because that's not going to change. So energy equals mass. If you eat more energy, more calories than you expend, you're going to gain mass. If you expend more energy, more calories than you consume, you are going to lose mass. So weight loss really comes down to expending more calories than you consume. It really doesn't matter the combination of macronutrients that you eat. You can eat low carb, low fat, low protein, high protein. What really matters more is the number of calories you consume minus the number of calories that you expend. And that really is what weight loss all comes down to. Now, having said that, there are some tricks that you can play with because it's really all about the partitioning of calories, the direction in which those calories go. When you eat carbohydrate, do you want them to get stored as glycogen, which is the muscle's preferred fuel, or do you want it to get stored as fat? Well, that comes down to how much exercise you do and placing a metabolic demand. Because if you do a lot of exercise, then you severely lower your glycogen fuel tank. Think of glycogen as your gasoline. It's your gasoline tank. The more you exercise, the more you lower that gasoline, that carbohydrate fuel tank. So any carbohydrate that you consume through your mouth is going to go to fulfill the metabolic demand of replacing the lost carbohydrate, because it is threatening to the muscles to run out of carbohydrate. It is a metabolic demand. It is a metabolic priority to refill the tank. And so by exercising a lot, you become the director of where those calories go. You become the director of the calorie movie, and all the carbohydrate that you consume will go to replace the lost carbohydrate through exercise. Now what happens if you don't exercise? Your carbohydrate fuel tank is always full. And if the carbohydrate fuel tank is always full, then guess where the carbohydrates that you consume are going to go? That's right, they're going to go to your belly and your left and right butt cheeks. And they're going to get stored as fat. Now who wants that? Nobody wants that. So you have to create the metabolic demand. It's the same thing with protein. If you always do workouts to slightly damage muscle tissue, because that's how your muscle gets stronger, you cause microscopic damage to the muscle fibers, any protein that you consume is going to go to repair that damage. Also, the more you work out, the more you send a signal to make some kind of proteins. That's how we adapt to training. It's all protein synthesis. If you do a lot of running, a lot of aerobic exercise, then you stimulate the synthesis of mitochondria and aerobic enzymes. Conversely, if you do a lot of heavy strength training, you stimulate the synthesis of more muscle contractile proteins, actin and myosin proteins. All of the adaptations that we make, it's all protein synthesis. So what happens to all the protein that you consume? The amino acids from that protein is used to synthesize new protein, and you either increase your strength or your endurance or whatever the case may be, whatever you're targeting, whatever you're trying to focus your training on. So all of this comes down to creating a metabolic demand. If you don't have the metabolic demand, which you get from exercising a lot, then everything that you eat, regardless if it's a protein or it's a carbohydrate or if it's a fat, it's going to get stored as fat because there's no metabolic demand. So that's really the simple version of this. I put all of this in my new book that comes out in March, Run Your Fat Off. But I wish people would just listen and read this stuff and stop being enamored with all of these weight loss experts that you see all over social media or all the books that are in the bookstore, because most of it's garbage. Anybody who tells you that you can lose a pound a day is lying to you. It takes about 3,500 calorie deficit compared to what you consume minus what you expend. You need a 3,500 calorie deficit just to lose 1 single pound. So think about that for a minute. Anybody with half a brain can figure this math out. It's like third grade math. So I'll do it for you just to help you out here because I want you to understand this so much. if the average American diet, all those food labels that you read on all the food labels, they're based on a 2,000 calorie diet. So say you have the average diet of 2,000 calories. 2,000 plus 3,500 is 5,500. So that means to lose 1 pound a day, you would have to expend 5,500 calories and consume 2,000. Now, how are you going to do that? You would have to run all day long, and even that wouldn't be enough. You burn about 110 calories per mile, so calculate that out, how many miles that is. That's not realistic. How are you going to lose a pound a day? How are you going to lose 5 pounds in 5 days? The drastic measures that you would need to lose that much weight that quickly is not a sustainable measure. You can't sustain those drastic measures for the next 20 or 30 years. And that's why if you try to lose weight that quickly, you're going to gain it back. Because what it took to gain weight that quickly is not sustainable for the rest of your entire life. And why should you lose weight if you're not going to sustain the weight loss? That's like telling somebody to stop smoking but then start again next month. Don't stop smoking if you're just going to start again. That's pointless. Don't lose weight if you're just going to gain it back. That's pointless. The goal is to lose weight for the rest of your entire life. So I could go on and on about this. The video I see is already 6 minutes long, but I'm trying to simplify this for you. If you want to lose weight, the research shows that sustained weight loss occurs at about half up to 2 pounds per week. Then that's because the strategy that you use to lose weight at that rate is a sustainable strategy. It's something you can do week after week, month after month, year after year. Losing a pound a day is not a sustainable strategy. You would have to exercise all day long and practically starve yourself to get the enormous caloric deficit that you would need. Remember that number, 3,500. It changes a little bit depending on your exact body weight, your starting point, because as you lose weight, metabolism starts to decrease and then the number changes a little bit. So it's not always exactly a 3,500 difference to gain or lose a pound. But for all intents and purposes, you can say it's that. So even if you eat 1,500 calories, that means you would need to expend 5,000 calories a day in order to lose 1 pound a day. That's not going to be possible. So do it the smart way. Exercise a lot, eat a little less, cut maybe 300, 400, 500 calories out of your normal diet. So if you're up to 2,000 calories, consume about 1,500 calories. And then do smart exercise. Do exercise that uses a lot of muscle mass, that places a demand on your body, that burns a lot of calories. And that's how you lose weight. There's no magic to it. There's no secret. Everybody acts like they have a secret. There's no secret to weight loss. It really is burning more calories than you consume. So there you go. I just gave you a gem. Use that the rest of your life. Share this with all your friends, and everybody in America will lose weight. And all over the world. Why stop in America? Let's do this. Let's take this international. Let's make it all over the world. So there you go. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. Jason@run-fit.com. Don't forget the dash there. Jason@runfit.com. And I'll see you later.